All right, my bad, guys. Time to finish this. I don't know what happened at the end of my last video. It just randomly cut off. My last video was already pretty long, so I'm just gonna try to finish this up. And yeah, I'm basically gonna finish my Scream franchise rankings, 1 through 6 in this video. I was at number 3, and at number 3 for my Scream rankings was Scream 4. Scream 4 is at number 3, and yeah, basically Scream 4 is all the way here. And yeah, I'm just gonna finish this off. So hopefully, you guys enjoy. Like, subscribe. But yeah, basically, in my last video, if basically at number 6 in last place was Scream 3. Scream 2 was at number 5. Scream 5 was at number 4, and now Scream 4 is at number 3. And I was talking about Jill, just how great she was as a killer, because man, just everything she did was just great. Just the way a lot of these things, like she didn't really. I don't really think she killed anyone, but like it doesn't really matter to me, because like just the way, you know, she manipulated everyone. You know, Mickey, he manipulated Sydney in Scream 2, but I felt like Jill's manipulation to everyone was at top notch here, you know. Top, it's like she had us all fooled, you know. Like, I did not expect Jill to be the killer. Charlie, I kind of suspected him to be the killer. And, you know, like I said in my last video, I give him credit for being a brutal killer, for sure. But as a character, he was just whatever. His motive is not even that great. So it's just like, yeah, I don't really care for Charlie as much. And, you know, like, he was just sort of a pawn, you know, to Jill, like, a lot, if anything. So, yeah, like, I just feel like that's just really what it is here. So, like, yeah, I think, I just feel like, you know, Jill, like, when she revealed herself, there's reasons why it's so shocking. And it's not just because, you know, she's, you know, she was, Sydney's cousin, and, like, or whatever. Like, it's not even really just that. But, like, there's Jill's, as a killer, she was really shocking, because, like, she really, like, I thought she was just gonna be like the new Sydney, you know. I really thought that. She just seemed so innocent to me, like, and I just did, like, she did a good job, like I said, manipulating everyone, just making her look innocent the whole time. Like, I did not suspect her at all. She's the least most obvious. Like, she's not even, like, she's the killer that in this franchise that I, like, never suspected. And the reason why it works as well for her shocking reveal is because it doesn't feel out of nowhere. It doesn't feel like, oh yeah, it's forced, the fact that she was a killer. The thing about it is that Jill got a lot of screen time. And I even said this in my last video, where in my Scream franchise ranking video, my last video, I said that Richie, Billy, and Jill got the most screen time as killers. So Richie, Billy, and Jill all got a lot of screen time as killers. But the thing is, the difference is here is that, like, Billy was sort of obvious, you know? Like, he was sort of obvious. Like, they almost hinted it throughout the whole movie that he was the killer. Richie was sort of obvious too. Like, I suspected him as well. Jill, however, not, like, she got a lot of screen time, yes, as a killer, but also she wasn't obvious as well. And then on top of that, the fact that, you know, the fact that she got a lot of screen time and was not an obvious killer, that makes her reveal way more shocking and way more like better executed as a killer reveal. She's still the most shocking reveal as a killer to me compared to all the other killers in this franchise. And the fact that, like I said, she got a lot of screen time and wasn't really that obvious made it for a more shocking reveal that didn't just feel out of place or out of nowhere, or it didn't feel too obvious either. Jill was that perfect combination of just good killer with good screen time before her reveal, and just not really being that obvious and just being genuinely shocking. Jill was that one killer in this franchise that really did it for me for a reveal for any killer in this franchise. No doubt. And that's why I really like her. And I mean, she was crazy. Look how she was in the third act of Scream 6. I mean, of Scream 4. In the third act of Scream 4, she was literally over here hurting herself just to commit to her plan and her motive, which her motive for fame was just it was way ahead of its time, obviously. But like, yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like Jill, just she was crazy. Obviously, like she was genuinely crazy and psychotic. Like you can really tell she was really, up there with how crazy she was. Like she did not care. She was on another level here. So I feel like when it comes to just Jill as a killer, she was great in Scream 4, and she was just awesome. So I felt like Jill, she was awesome for what she was. The way how even Sydney was surprised that whenever Jill took off the mask, Sydney did not expect that either. No, I don't know, bro. Like it was just such a shocking reveal, the best shocking reveal in this franchise, because it didn't, like I said, it wasn't obvious, nor did it feel out of nowhere or far fetched. At least to me, like I felt like Jill had that perfect, reveal, and her motive. Her motive for fame, I've talked about this before in my Scream 6 killer reveal motives, like why I like them. And I said I compared certain motives that were the same and certain motives that were similar to each other. And I did say in that video that Jill's motive was similar to Mickey's motive in Scream 2, because Mickey, he was trying to blame the movies and get caught, and because he was crazy, but he also wanted fame. So Jill's motive for wanting to get fame and whatnot was similar to Mickey's, but the reason why I like it better with Jill, with her fame motive, is the fact that she is a killer, because it feels more authentic with Jill. Like Mickey was barely even in Scream 2, like I've already said this. Mickey was barely even in Scream 2. His reveal felt like it didn't feel out of nowhere because I suspected him, so I already felt like he was one of the killers either way. But like it felt sort of out of nowhere just because of the fact that he was barely even in the film, and then the fact that he wasn't even the main killer who had that motive. Like he wasn't even the main killer who had that motive in Scream 2. It was Mrs. Loomis who had the main motive and was the mastermind in Scream 2. Mrs. Loomis was the one who had the revenge motive, while Mickey was just the partner of Mrs. Loomis who wanted fame. While it felt like it was the opposite in Scream 4, where Jill wants fame, but she's the mastermind killer. So she has the main motive of the fame. So I felt like the fact that Jill as well, like I said, got a lot of screen time, it felt better executed with the fame motive than Mickey was. Mickey was just like, they underutilized him as a character, and then the fact that his motive isn't really the main motive in Scream 2, it was Mrs. Loomis. It's not really executed the same, but it is the same motive. It is similar and whatnot, but I felt like it was better executed with Jill. The hospital sequence at the end was just great. I love it. And yeah, I think that this movie had a lot of enjoyable things in it. I've already talked about everything. Just the brutal kills, Kirby, Jill, which I'm glad Kirby came back for Scream 6. And then just everything else about it too. I love Scream 4. So yeah. In second place though, for my Scream franchise rankings, is Scream 6. Scream 6 is in my second place for my Scream franchise rankings. And I I felt like this movie would just, it blew my mind in every way possible. And the thing is that Scream 4 used to be my favorite sequel. Now it's in third place, and now Scream 6 is my favorite sequel. And some fans, they have said that, because I've seen this been said before. Some fans, they try to be like, oh, the only reason that there's some fans who are liking Scream 6 so much is because they have recency bias. And I'm not one of those fans, because I just genuinely like Scream 6 a lot. I thought it was a great film. I don't have recency bias. It's just really, I just thought this film was really good. There's just so much things that I liked in this film. The New York setting, the opening scene with Samara Weaving, and the Ghostface reveal in the beginning, and then the Ghostface killer getting killed off by another Ghostface killer, and just just like stuff like that. I really like that. And just the character development that was way better than Scream 5. Like Scream 6 really did better with character development with the core 4. I thought they handled Kirby and Gale pretty good as well. And just, all that. Like, I just thought that they did really good. And like, I just thought that Scream 6, it did so much better with chase scenes, stuff like that. There's just and it's overall just more fun. It's just more of a fun time than Scream 5 was. And like I said, the opening scene was awesome for Scream 6. It was great. And I don't think there could be any more shocking opening scene for this franchise than this. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do for Scream 7 for an opening scene. They sort of tried something new with Scream 5 with having Tara survive. The only difference is the fact that it was still similar to Scream 1 with Casey Becker, with her being in her house and and all that, being attacked in her house. And the Tara opening scene of Scream 5 was obviously still similar to the original Scream opening with Casey Becker. So that's the only thing there is. But of course she survived, so that was different. But Scream 6 really took that new stuff with the opening scene to another level. Like, they literally they killed off Samara Weaving, and then after that you would think the opening scene title would pop, the title card would pop up after Ghostface kills her. But nope. That's when Tony Revolori's character Jason takes off the Ghostface mask. And man, I was just like, bro, when I saw that, like I said, it was just so shocking. And this movie just it was just so good. Like, it tried so many new things. Like, I've already said the opening scene, the New York setting. It wasn't just on college the whole time like Scream 2. And like it just the New York setting, the brutality of this film as well. And just stuff like that. Like, Scream 6 really tried new things. Like I said, the opening scene, Like the opening scene, the brutality. They this is probably the most brutal, gory Scream film, and just the character development, the New York setting, the chase scenes. There was just so much great things about this film that were executed differently. I mean, we got our first detective killer. We got our first duo family of killers. We got three killers. We got an old age worn out mask killers that are wearing different ghost face masks. Um, we got Ghostface killing someone with a shotgun. Like, that was cool. And just the characters that Tara, I felt like she was way more well rounded in this film, and just great in this film compared to Scream 5. It's like I said in my last video, Scream 5, Tara was kind of just like crying and screaming the whole time, and there was really not much to her other than just that. But in Scream 6, I felt like Tara was way more, like, you felt that genuine connection with and relationship with her and Sam. And, like, you really felt that. And you even felt that connection with Sam and Tara. And Tara and Mindy and Chad. And Sam and Tara, Mindy and Chad as well. Like, they all four of them, the core four, that's what they call. They were all great, and their connection with each other, their relationship was way better developed in this film compared to Scream 5. It was just awesome. And like I said too, like, I'm so glad that a lot of fans are liking Sam now. They appreciate her, because I've been a Sam defender I've been a Sam defender for like a while now. So I'm glad more fans are starting to like her now. Like I said, Mindy was great. Chad was great. And some fans even say Chad is the heart of the film. And I honestly could kind of agree with that. I feel like Chad was probably one of my favorite characters within this film. He was just so awesome. And Gail was great. Some fans say that she felt shoehorned in, like she felt shoehorned into this film. I don't think so, because, like, yes, she didn't get the most screen time ever and whatnot, but, like, she still felt like she was part of the film, at least decently enough, because it was kind of the same thing with Scream 5. Like, she wasn't in that film a lot either, but, like, she still felt more part of it, to me at least. And it felt the same way with Scream 6, even more with Scream 6. Like, she felt more connected to the newer characters and whatnot. She was just I just like her character arc in this film. And some fans, I know some fans don't like that she wrote the book about Scream 5, and they're like, oh, they ruined her character arc, they ruined her character development. I've talked about this before in my spoiler reviews for Scream 6. That's not the case. They did not ruin her character development. The way I see it, I've already said this before though, but Gail was she's just coping what she went through, and all the trauma and stuff she went through, and by basically writing, that's her way of coping with everything. Even though she knows it's messed up, but that's kind of like what makes her happy. And plus, Gail, you can tell she's just money hungry and fame hungry in general. That's just how Gail is. And I honestly, I don't really mind that what they did with Gail's character. It's not a regression. It's not a backtracking on her character development overall. They still, because, like, it's not like she was just this old. She wasn't just the old Gail the whole movie. She still, like towards the end of the film, she became sympathetic again and whatnot. And, like, yeah, I just felt like with Scream 6, Gail was just better. Like, she was better than she was in Scream 5. I enjoy her a lot in this film. So yeah, and just, you can tell she still felt bad about Dewey. And some fans say, oh, she may have, she wrote the book, and she obviously had to have said something about Dewey, so that means she still wrote something She wrote about his death as well when she wrote the book about Scream 5, and and whatnot. So she didn't. She would, if she really felt bad, she wouldn't have did that. The thing is, though, is that like she probably did that, but did feel bad about it. I mean, it's not like we saw her write the book, but it's like she probably did feel bad about it. Because either way, like you can see how she still feels bad about his death. In general, whenever Ghostface calls her on the phone and is literally, telling her about Dewey, and she's Gail, you can tell she's still affected by Dewey and his death. So yeah, it's not like Gail doesn't, she forgot about Dewey in Scream 6. She never cared about him. Maybe they could have, went further with it, expanded more on that stuff, but I still think they did a good job with her character and what they did with her. Same thing for Kirby. I thought she was great in this film. She wasn't in the film a whole ton either, but for the screen time she did have, I thought she was great. She was fun. I like seeing her as an FBI agent. She was just so great, and I love seeing Kirby in this film. It was just such a fun time. And some fans, they have kind of had they have an issue with her not being exactly like the Scream 4 Kirby, that where she's just a horror nerd and whatnot. But it's just like it's not an issue to me, because it's just like I never even expected for Kirby to be just the Scream 4 Kirby to begin with. Like, that was never my expectation anyways. So, because it's just like she's older now. It makes sense that she's not just gonna be the same Kirby from Scream 4 when she was still a teenager, who still liked horror movies a whole ton. You can tell she still liked horror movies to an extent, because that scene with Mindy, and then just the way she still had that sort of Kirby-esque personality just in general that she did in Scream 4, where she was just like a little bit quirky and had these little funny one-liners at times. Like, I still felt that energy with Kirby's character in Scream 6. But of course, she was still more serious and more well-rounded because she's older now and she's an FBI agent. So I feel like it was perfectly balanced, to me at least. And I thought they executed her character pretty well, and she was important in this film, in my opinion, just as an FBI agent. Like, she was trying to help out. And I thought that she was great. Annika was probably like the newer characters. From the newer characters, I think she was probably the best. I thought she was great. She's the only one from the friend group that died. And I did feel kind of bad for Mindy whenever she had gotten killed. I feel like that was just crazy, but her death was scary. It was intense. Like, that whole ladder scene was just like crazy, and just seeing like the way she got killed, like, bro, that was just crazy. Danny, I like Danny too. His character was great. He wasn't in it a lot either, but he was still good for what he was. I thought he was better than Derek as a love interest to Sam compared to Derek was to Sydney. I don't know. I felt like Danny just felt more genuine. He felt more like he just felt more. I don't know. It felt more authentic to me, at least with Sam and Danny's relationship with each other. I enjoyed it, me personally, and I enjoy even Chad and Tara's relationship with each other. I thought it was handled great as well. I thought that was good. Like, it didn't feel like out of nowhere to me, and just in general, I thought Scream 6 was just great. There was just so much new things that they did. It's just such a fun time. And I know this movie has its flaws, but so do the other Scream movies and sequels. I've already talked about it in my first video that I uploaded with my Scream franchise rankings part 1. This is basically my Scream franchise rankings part 2. And I'm basically finishing it all here, because I didn't. It randomly cut off with my last video, so I'm finishing it here. But I basically, Scream 3 has its issues. It has its plot holes. Scream 2 does as well. You know, Scream 4. Like there's always little nitpicks and little plot holes and or certain things that you can I feel like you know, you can kind of like look at with almost like every Scream sequel that is within this franchise. The original Scream is probably like the only one that has no like real like plot holes or issues or anything like that. Although I could probably name two, just probably two within Scream 1. And that's whenever, you know, Tatum gets killed by the garage. Like, I mean, like that doesn't even seem like a realistic kill at all. I mean, like her being killed by a garage door just, it doesn't make sense. But was it not still an iconic kill? Like, yeah, it was. And also, you know, another thing too is whenever Sydney calls the police to her house when she's being chased by Ghostface, and she calls the police, and the police show up to her house in like, you know, in like 10 seconds. Like come on, it makes no sense. But I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, there's always certain plot holes I feel like that you can pick at with certain, you know, Scream movies and whatnot. And some fans say that Scream 6 has the most plot holes or whatever, plot armor for certain characters. Which I have said before, like, yeah, I do think Chad should have died. He definitely did have plot armor. But if we're going to act like plot armor or plot holes have never existed within this franchise before, I mean, like, I just don't buy that. Like, I don't know how some fans can act like, you know, plot holes and plot armor and stuff like that never existed before in this franchise. It just makes no sense to me. Like, literally, like, I felt like, if anything, Scary Movie kind of pointed out some of those plot holes and issues that, and kind of made fun of them in, you know, the first Scary Movie. It literally showed some of those goofy, unrealistic things that, you know, that were shown in the Scream movies, you know. Like Scary Movie like pointed some of these things out, because like, yeah, it just like you know, so like that's why whenever some fans try to be like, oh yeah, this like, if you want to argue that this film has the most plot holes or plot armor or whatever, I mean, like, that's, I guess, like, if you want to argue that, I mean, that I feel like it's kind of debatable. But if you want to say that, sure. But to act like it's never plot holes or plot armor or whatever has never existed before in this franchise, to say that that's never existed before in this franchise just makes no sense to me how some fans can say that. But yeah, the killers in this movie were great. Quinn, I like Quinn. I like Ethan. I like Detective Bailey. I thought they were great. Quinn and Ethan, I mean, I thought Quinn was decent with her screen time. Maybe not the most, but she was still good enough. Ethan, probably not so much. I felt like he could have been in it a little more. But I do think he killed Annika and what's it called? Annika and Quinn's boyfriend and that guy in the bathtub. I think he definitely killed them. I don't, Faith decided. I mean, he's been saying nah, like Ethan didn't kill. He wasn't there in the apartment scene. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, like basically, like I feel like Ethan, he didn't get, like, he wasn't in it a whole ton, but I still enjoyed his character. He was all right. Quinn, like, she wasn't in it. I felt like she was in it more than Ethan, a little bit more, but she was still, like, as a character, she wasn't all that, but she was still okay. Detective Bailey, though, you know, he got the most screen time, and I feel like he got the most kills too, and he's the mastermind. And I feel like it's something different, kind of, because like that's usually never really the case. Usually the mastermind killer in this franchise doesn't get the most kills. It's usually the partner who does most of the killing for the mastermind killer in this franchise. But Detective Bailey went all out. He's the mastermind, but he did most of the kills because he was prepared for all of this, you know? Like, yeah, I just felt like I like the killers in this movie. And some fans say it may have not been necessary to have three killers because they feel like, you know, besides Detective Bailey, Quinn and Ethan they weren't really all that as characters. But I mean, it's just like, it's whatever. I mean, that's just opinions, I feel like. But, Detective Bailey, I feel like with him specifically, he got pretty good amount of screen time. And like, yes, I know the motive is the same as Scream 2. Like, I've already like heard this so many times, and like I've already addressed it, a lot of times too, in my videos and in other, like, I've talked to some other fans too about this. Like, yeah, I know this motive is the same as Scream 2, but it doesn't matter to me. I still think it was still a good motive. It's still great. And if you want to talk about similar motives, like I said, Scream 1 through 3, Scream 1, 2, and 3, all revenge motives. It's just, and if you want to say that, but those are the older, like, because I know some fans, they'll probably be like, oh, but those are the older films though, like these newer films are just copying the older film. But I mean, the older films were they copying each other then? Because like, if you're gonna use a revenge motive for 3 movies straight, I feel like that's just, they must have been copying each other too. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. Would I like a new motive for Scream 7 that's creative and different? Sure. But like, at the same time, if they have some similar motive that we've seen before, I don't really mind as long as they execute it good. And I felt like Scream 6 did I thought it did it pretty good with the revenge motive, and just all that kind of stuff. And I just felt like Scream 6 overall it was such a different film. Like, you could point out the motive, sure, but the film overall was a completely different film compared to Scream 2. And Scream 2, like I've said before, was just on the college campus for like the whole movie. Scream 6 is not on the college campus that much. And it's not on a boat like Jason Takes Manhattan, So at least that's a good thing, right? So I mean, I don't know. I just felt like Scream 6 was just such a fun time. And there's just, for me, there's a lot that I like about it. Either way. So yeah, I felt like for Scream 7, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I guess we'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, I feel like I Scream 6 was just awesome. It's my second favorite sequel. Like, put the plot holes and whatever aside that, some fans try to, talk about. I feel like if some fans would just put some of that stuff aside and just enjoy this movie for what it is, and then maybe they can enjoy it. But then maybe, I don't know, because some fans, they just analyze everything, and I don't know. I just felt like just Scream 6 was just fun. It was just a fun time. But now, for the number 1 spot for my favorite Scream film in this franchise, the number 1 spot, of course, the original Scream. I mean, like, come on. It has to be number 1. Like, at the end of the day, the original Scream is the best. There's no doubt about it. Like I said, my rankings has changed a little bit, because I've ranked this franchise before, like a couple months ago, and it was just with all the 5 films before Scream 6 came out. And now it's been changed a little bit after Scream 6, but the original is not going to be taken from the number 1 spot. I feel like no matter what, it's always going to be the best. I mean, like, it changed the horror genre. It literally was a big game changer. It's the opening scene with Drew Barrymore is iconic. Like, everything about this film, the characters, the meta commentary, just everything about it. Like, this movie was just so much fun. It's great. It's one of the best slasher movies made of all time. Like, in all honesty, I think this movie is better, which I know some Halloween fans are gonna probably, they're probably gonna be like, oh, no. But I think Scream 96 is better than Halloween 78. I said it. I said it. I think that the original Scream movie is better than the original Halloween. I don't know what it is, but I just think this movie is way more fun, way more entertaining, way more. There's more stuff going on, more interesting characters, and it's so much. Like, I love this movie. Like, Scream 96 changed the horror genre forever, and I know Halloween paved the way for Scream, and I know because I know this. There's a there might be a chance that there's a Halloween fan watching this right now, and might be watching this, one of you, and they might comment and be like, "Oh, but Halloween paved the way for Scream. How can you say that?" Yeah, it paved the way for Scream, but like that doesn't mean you have to like a movie that came before it just because it came before it. Like, opinions are opinions at the end of the day. Some fans think Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th, is better than the original Halloween, or some fans think the original Psycho movie is better than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like it's just some fans have different opinions. That's all it is. I just think this movie is just so much fun. It's iconic from beginning to end. Like, everything about it is just great. So, I mean, there's nothing else to say about this. The original Scream will always be the best. When I saw this movie, for the first time, I was just like, man, why haven't I watched these movies before? I just like I watched the original Scream, and then I watched Scream 2, and then Scream 3, and then Scream 4. And then soon enough, Scream 5 was about to come out. And then once I got to Scream 5, I liked that movie too. And then now Scream 6. And then it's just like, I'm in love with this franchise. I love this franchise. It's the most consistent horror franchise. From, the horror franchise that I know, I think this is the most consistent. It's the best. And I think that it's a great franchise, bro. And Billy and Stu will always be the best killers in this franchise, in my opinion, especially as duo killers. Like, there's nothing can top them, bro. So yeah, this movie is iconic just in every way possible. This Scream, the original Scream, is at number 1 on my rankings for the Scream franchise. Like I said in my last video, my rankings were Scream 3 at number 6, Scream 2 at number 5, Scream 5 at number 4, Scream 4 at number 3, Scream 6 at number 2, and then now the original Scream at number 1. So yeah, here's my rankings. This completed here in this video. This is the part 2 to my last video. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm probably gonna, because I want to do a Stu Macher video for Scream 6. Kind of like dive into some theories with that. Maybe do another video on the, or I might even plan on doing, maybe a video with ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And I have some videos planned for this upcoming week that I want to talk about, that I want to make. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. Like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.